special PURA Ambassador panel here in PURA. I am Jadu Sanyan, a PURA Student Ambassador from Newsrat Senior Secondary School. Welcome once again to today's panel discussion on a critical topic addressing water and electricity challenges in the Gambia. As we gather here, we are to explore the complexities and solutions related to provisions of these essential services. Water and electricity are cornerstones of development and well-being, yet many communities in the Gambia face persistent issues in these areas. We are honored to have a distinguished panel of experts with us today, and I would like to start from my far left.
Hello everyone, I am Fatima Balajo, a PURA Student Ambassador from Newsrat Senior Secondary School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mahmoud Salih, Water and Energy Inspector, PURA.
Good day, everyone. My name is Grace Bennett, a PURA Student Ambassador from Gambia Methodist Academy.
Hello, greetings to everyone. My name is M. Boy. I'm Electricity Manager at PURA from the Directorate of Energy, Water and Petroleum. I'm happy to be here.
Distinguished viewers, I am Aissatou Damso, a PURA Student Ambassador from Gambia Methodist Academy. I am pleased to be here with you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Aliou El Sedi, a PURA Student Ambassador from Gambia Senior Secondary School. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Good day, everyone. My name is Mamba Slammer. I am a Consumer Affairs Assistant from the Department of Consumer Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know most of you will be wondering what PURA Student Ambassador is all about. PURA just want to increase its visibility, and in doing so, they thought it will be important to engage young people since they are very open-minded and they are also always out there to be able to engage their fellow students as well as the community as to the mandates of PURA and also help in advocating for the activities of PURA.
Mr. So, you as a PURA regulatory to the water aspect.
So consumers do expect no complaint that despite the fact that Gambia is blessed with plentiful of water, but yet still, NAWIC is finding it difficult to supply a sufficient and reliable and safety water to its people. So you as a regulator, what is your say to the consumers out there?
Thank you very much, Madam Sanyan. As you alluded, we all know we have a common issue right now with regards to water. Our job as a regulator is to ensure that there is sustainability and efficient service delivery to the customers that are paying for the services that is being rendered to them. The numerous in the water sector challenges are huge, and then these are things that we trying to look out and implement they address. As a regulator, our job is to ensure that the people value for money is attained, and then in so doing, we do our routine inspection to check on some of the root causes of the scarcity of water in the communities, and then to hear from consumers too what are some of the challenges that they face. But the key thing that NAWIC is facing right now, most especially on the water sector, is investment. Because you can't just provide a service when you don't have the sufficient investment that is needed, that is from the production to the transmission to the distribution. But you need that substantial investment to make sure you have all your materials up and running. So majority of the things that they are facing right now is the investment issue, and then they have all materials, equipment that they're using to provide water to the general public. So key among the things that they are facing is this, but in the long run with the investment of World Bank and other donors, we are foreseeing that in 2025 there will be change because there is a document that has been developed, that is the water safety plan. This one will outline some of the bricks that people are facing, and then what should be done. There are numerous steps that should be taken. One of the things that is captured under the water safety plan is rationing issue. That is if community A is complaining that in the morning we don't have water, they will see how best can they be able to divide the number of hours that they are serving people. Either we're going to give community A 3 hours in the morning and then give community B 3 hours in the afternoon and then come back to them again because they don't have enough capacity to make sure that they give out the needed amount to the people so that they will be satisfied with the issue. So part of the development that they are doing is to make sure that we get this water safety plan put in the system so that we will know that actually consumers can be communicated to that. You will have water from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Then, the hitches and then the challenges, people will know that during this period I will have water. So these are the things that we are posting there and the document is up and then we are trying to do the finalization and then get it designated out there so that it can be implemented.
Thank you so much, Mr. So. And that was really clear and we are looking forward.
I want to ask, what's your intake on the situation that is going right now in the Gambia on electricity shortage?
Thank you very much for that very quick shop. Once again, my name is Bruce Mboy from the Directorate of Energy, Water and Petroleum. As you just mentioned, electricity is one thing to generate electricity, but let me just give a background. Electricity needs to be generated, transmitted, and distributed. So generation, transmission, and distribution. So at time, as he mentioned, as he was saying during our presentation, we have some of the infrastructures that are very old. So it will be difficult. Then the electricity is generated, the network will not be able to carry it. So what they do is they do what we call load shedding. Load shedding means if you are from Fajara, they will be able to say you give Fajara 6 hours of light and after you give back out some other hours of light so that at the end of the day, all the consumers see themselves in the number of hours electricity is given. But that's a problem. And as the saying goes, to every problem, there's a solution. So there are some projects that the government of the Gambia is doing through the World Bank and other funding agency called JAM. JAM is Gambia Electricity Restoration and Modernization Project. Those projects are coming to look at the challenges NAREC is facing in terms of their electricity. So those projects are there to solve. As a regulator, we are also working to make sure that some of these problems are solved by doing our usual power plant monitoring. We go to the power plant and look at the issues that are happening there. We summon NAREC for a meeting so that they can give us the update on the capacity they have and what can be done in the short, medium, and long term so that the challenges we face in electric supply is solved. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Bruce.
I have a question. My question is going to be based on electricity. Sometimes, based on this panel of the consumers usually have this breakdown. And when they are the victims of this breakdown, we have been seeing people outside, investing for these people and compensating them. But we are not seeing NAREC, compensating them, also, standing for them, supporting them. Why is it that NAREC are not doing this? Hence, where are the cause of it if we are to talk about it?
Thank you for that question. As you just mentioned, that yes, NAREC, if you are a consumer and NAREC, they are able to put you into for this situation, as you mentioned, by getting your equipment blown. Yes, but it will be difficult. So at the level of the regulator, we are having what we call quality of service, QoS. This is a document that we are quality of service for electricity. So we are working with other individual or institutional partners like the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy. Then we're working with the SOE, the state-owned enterprise, to make sure that we develop a quality of service regulation. And in those regulations, the issues that you face, in case if there is a document or a guide to say you need to be compensated, so that document will look at those things. So the quality of service for electricity is a working document that we are doing with all relevant stakeholders so that we are going to use it as a regulation and that we will use it as a tool. Either you have the carrot or the stick. For example, we are also developing a grid code. As we mentioned, NAREC is a grid. So the code will be able to mention some of the do's and don'ts that they can be put liable to. It will be difficult to compensate our consumers whom their equipment are affected by electricity. Because remember, as a regulator, anything we do need to have a legal basis. And now we are working towards developing a QoS, quality of service for electricity. So that QoS, when it's done, those documents will highlight if your equipment are blown by electricity, what is the process and procedures that we use to make sure you are compensated.
Okay, just to add on to what Mr. Boyd just said with regards to the quality of service, it's a similar thing in water too. Quality of service will outline what the utility needs to do, and then there should be a set target for them. For instance, like if we have applications for new installment for meter and other stuffs, there should be a standard that they should have, that actually if Mr. Sadi apply for a meter, it should take them within 1 week to make sure that it has been installed. So part of the quality of service, and then there should be a set target that, okay, within every 2 years, they should meet 95% of the targets that are set for them. So this will outline, and then with regards to the quality of service that you are receiving, there will be a set limit for them. At all costs, they need to meet it. If they don't meet it, then the regulatory thing there will come into play on top of them. That's where you'll have some charges and fines and other stuff. That is when they default from the quality of service that has been set. Because this will be something that will be agreed with both parties. All stakeholders will be part of it. They will sit, review, and then pick what they feel they will be able to meet within the specific time that has been set. Because it has a time limit, whereas it can be 2 years, 3 years, but it has to be. Because like outside there in other countries, it's like for water, when you apply for a meter, you're only given 1 week to make sure that you get your installation done. You apply on Monday, the following Monday, everything should be done. Because when you don't meet it now, the consumer have a legal backing somewhere to sue the utility to court, because now they have a set standard that the consumers are okay with. It's like they will share the quality of service to the consumers. They will read and know what is their right. So they have the right again to come and then either sue PURA themselves or even the utility that is providing the service to you. So this talks about the quality of service.
I'm just to add on that, when you talk of quality of service, there will be set KPIs. KPIs mean key performance indicators. As we mentioned, if electricity go off, there's what we call the system average interruption duration index. In the KPIs, we are going to mention some index, how long if electricity go off, how long should it take for it to restore that electricity back. So those set targets will be set by the regulator in acceptance by the utility and other stakeholders, so that it's going to be appear in the document, so we are going to use it. So they are called key performance indicators on the interruption, the duration, and the time for lack of electricity.
So my question is it that PURA develops tariffs or NAWEC does?
Yeah, tariffs are being developed by PURA because it's cross-cutting. We have almost all the departments involved, whereas each and everyone will be taxed on the things that you need to do. But basically, the beginning comes, it's like now we need to submit maybe their invoices and other stuff. Whereas we will look at their investment and then to see actually if at all they have to produce, coupled with what they've spent, where will they be within that tariff setting. So we will briefly explain some of these things, because it's like I've never been involved in tariff setting, but it has to do with the investment the utility is giving out, and then what will be the output if at all you set a set tariff for them. Within 2 years, whether they will be able to record when they spend and have profit on top of it, or whether they will run into losses. So these are some of the things that are looked at whenever you are putting up a tariff. You look at the pros and cons of the investment, the output, and then other stuff. But we will be able to dwell more on that.
Yes. Thank you. PURA has developed what we call a tariff methodology guideline. In that tariff methodology guideline, will indicate what we should do if you want to apply for a tariff. So PURA is a multi-sector regulatory authority, and we have different directorates. So when now send in their tariff that they want to increase the tariff, PURA as a regulator will look at all those documents in consultation with the relevant directorate. We have a directorate of economic regulation, and we have the directorate of energy, water and petroleum, and all directorate within the authority to make sure that what like file for the tariff is looked into. We also work in consultation with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. So when we are done with that tariff methodology guideline, if you go to the PURA Act 2001, it is said that before a tariff is increased, you should do what we call public hearing. You have to consult do a consultation with the public. Because remember, this tariff we want to increase is going back to the consumers, that's the general public. So we'll do what we call public hearing. We'll invite different consumers, we'll invite the advocates, NGOs and other institutions to come, and we'll file all those things and give them an update that what they now want. From that public hearing, a report would be written and that would be filed, and there the tariff would be either increased or decreased. But remember, as a regulator, we are looking towards a decreased tariff, but not an increased tariff. Thank you very much.
The general perception is that Gambia has the most expensive cost of electricity and water
In the sub-region.
in the sub-region. Why is that?
One of the factors contributing to this is, remember, the electricity we are generating in this country are from generators, and these generators use fuel. It's light fuel called oil called LFO, and heavy fuel oil called HFO. So these fuel are not manufactured or made in the Gambia. So this fuel, we import them from other countries. So the cost of import to get those fuel in this country will be high. And those are some of the factors where now we need to have foreign currency. Even there are generators, when they want to buy spare part, they need to order this equipment. And it's expensive because you don't buy those material in dollars, it's used dollars. So when you do the exchange rate, you need to have some markup, and that's why our electricity is expensive. But that's a problem, and to every problem, there is a solution. So the government of the Gambia is investing in renewable energy. And if I may quote, renewable energy has the ability to lift a country from poor to a level of prosperity. So now there are some projects. We have the 23 megawatt solar project in Jambur, and there are some other projects coming to make sure that we are not only using fossil fuel or conventional energy, but we'll be using renewable energy, which is clean energy, in line with the national determined contribution that the Gambia is a signatory to. So the other thing also, some of the equipment we are using are not energy efficient. Remember, it's easier to save energy than to build a power plant. So the Gambia, in support with the United Nations Environmental Program, is having projects on using energy efficiency equipment. So now there was a study tour that was conducted in Ghana to see how we can use energy efficient equipment for refrigerators and air conditioners. So these projects are coming to support the country, the Gambia, so that we did not use fossil fuel, but also use energy efficiency equipment and also using renewable energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I may step in, just to add a different thing from what Mr. Blake just said. We all know we have a background in science, and some of the things that we are seeing physically in our communities. We're in the rainy season, we are having a fluctuation in the rainy season. So the issue of moving from fossil fuel to renewable energy is to fight climate change and global warming. These are things that we are paying for, that we are not even contributing to, because the amount of fossil fuel that we're using compared to the rest is different. It's like we are paying for something that we are not even accustomed to. So this is why, there's a shift in dimension. Part of the SDGs, for SDG 7 is to make sure actually we shift from fossil fuel to renewable energy. It's cost effective, and then, it has a benefit to the environment compared to what we generate in fossil fuel, whereas we are depleting the ozone layer and then leading to, climate change and global warming. And then we know that we don't have the necessary structures when issues arise with regards to health and other stuff. We might run like in some part of the East Africa, whereas, they have a dry land, whereas water is a problem. Gambia, we don't have an issue with regards to water. We have potable water everywhere. But all this high rate of that fossil fuel and then depletion of the ozone layer will run into the same thing like other areas. So this is why now the advocacy is to shift from fossil to renewable energy.
Yes, remember, to any society, the future leaders lies on the hands of the young people. So as student ambassadors of PURA, you need to be ambassadors who are promoting the renewable energy agenda, the SDG 7. Yeah, you can switch off your light AC fan when you are not in use. For example, you are sitting outside or in school, you are having studies. you switch off your equipment to save energy. Remember, it's easier to save energy than to build power plant. And as we mentioned about the tariff, when you're saving energy, you're saving money, and also help the environment in the CO2 emissions. Thank you.
As we are facing the difficulties, the scarcity of water, especially Bundu, sometimes for us to get a water, it takes us a long day for us to get a water. And we have had now saying that they will start digging these boreholes, but we are not seeing the process starting. How far with this project?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sedi. I think it's your right to get what you are paying for. The issue of Bundung is a special case. You were having enough water, but due to encouragement, they have a borehole that was there, but it was contaminated, and then it became decommissioned. It's just around the market where you have that, where they call Bundung borehole. So the topography or the area is contaminated, and you cannot just come and then dig a borehole just to satisfy people when you are putting their lives at a crossroad. So currently with the World Bank project and then the OIC project, currently they have some duck boreholes that they will connect into the system, and then Bundung will be part of the people that they will be prioritizing. But we all have a role to play in terms of making sure what we give in is maintained and sustained. Because now I have a part to play, but at community level also we have a role to play. It's like you have your set borehole for you, and then now your role is to make sure that the place is clean and tidy as community members. Now we can do as part of their corporate mandates to make sure that everything that they have is secure, clean, and then affordable to the people that they are serving. But what is your role now as a community member is to take ownership of what has been given to you. You just don't sit and then say, this is now its property, let's do whatever we feel like doing. The consequences will come to you. So this is what happened in Bundung. When they feel this is our community, whatever we feel like doing is what we're going to do. They have to tamper with the borehole, the pump, and other stuff, so it has to be decommissioned. When they realize there were some chemicals that would affect the people that will be consuming that water. But in the long run, hopefully before the middle of 2025, it will be an issue that will be addressed. It's part of their plans and part of their action as a priority of the things that they need to do to fulfill some of the commitments that they have based on what we are regulating on their side. As we all know, we have high rate of water shortage in the country. This has propelled people to invest on their own water resource in their own communities by digging boreholes. It had put it into consideration the effects, whether it is being contaminated, whether it is pourable. Drinking raw water have a consequence because you don't know what chemicals, what contaminants are within the water that you're drinking. There's no regulation to say actually people that are digging boreholes should have a set standard that they should be using to say, okay, before digging, you need to test for the water like now it does. Because DWR would always screen areas from now and then tell them, here is a water source, try to secure it, and then make sure that everything around it is secure. That is, you deter people from encroaching and then providing some contaminants that will affect the water source. Tambana is a typical example. It is a wet field area, whereas they have majority of their boreholes, but now they are facing the consequences of improper waste dumping. If any one of you know Tambana around Kasapunda, is where majority of the dumps that we have, the waste that we have is being deposited to, and it's very close to the wet field. So one of their E6 was decommissioned because of that. So decommissioning the borehole have a consequence on the service delivery. You expect to have 24-hour water supply, and then the borehole is decommissioned. It is going to reduce the rate at which they produce. So now we resort into making sure that we get our own boreholes. But do we have the necessary measurement in our compounds to make sure that we have a duck borehole that is safe for drinking? One, you have a pit latrine within. We all know within the combos here we have a 20 by 20 compound. You hardly will you see somebody owning a compound of 100 by 100 within the combos. Very rare. Even when you have, my people, the bodybuilders and others will just come and then say, Madam Kari can come and then buy this and then develop, because you need the money, because you have some issues that you need to take care of. But under the normal consideration with WHO, any water source and the pit latrine should be 30 meters away. Do we have that? We don't. And then we don't do consultation with the necessary individuals like Water Resources Minister of Health before we dig our boreholes. You can have a 15 by 15. Or when you are provided based on the guidelines set by WHO, you can have your borehole within your compound and it's safe. You will have a time duration that will be given to you that during this period you can have a decommission, because the level of intrusion, when you have waste deposited or, water flow, the population part of it, the science people will know when you have population, it flows around, but it has a time frame, maybe 5-10 years before it reaches the water source that you were drinking. So contamination will come into play. So the advice there is either every 3 months you test your water to see the level of contamination of the water. And before you even start using that raw water, because you're drinking raw water, people don't even, disinfect their water before drinking. You just have your bowl and then you come, you fit, and then you do stuff. We said boiling is an effective way of killing germs. But at the long run, again, after boiling, you didn't use it, you leave it there, you have some other contaminant re-emanated again. You consume it, you have issues. There are so many issues in terms of health sector issues with regards to diarrhea and other stuff. We might align it to this, but there is no conclusion because there is no, investigation that has been done. But it is rampant right now, so we're also trying to make sure that we discuss with DWR. They have a document developed yet to be gazetted to make sure that each and everyone responsible for digging boreholes, you would have to follow that set guideline. Before you dig, you test. After digging, you test, and then make sure that you have that set perimeter of 30 meters where the borehole will be, and then the pit and all stuff.
So, the chlorine. So you are saying that the chlorine in the water, it's not enough for the water to be safe. That people need to take precautions, especially these boreholes. Is there chlorine in borehole waters?
It depends on the individual using and then the level of awareness. During our recent Bantaba, this was something that we were advocating for. Whereas, when you have raw water, because the borehole is raw, it's not treated. Like for now, after production, it goes through a series of treatment before it reaches out to the consumer. Because they will produce, move it inlet, and then they have the aeration, that is to add oxygen to the water. Because we all know that without oxygen in the water, the science student will have some of the complications that people will have. Because one, it might reduce your blood circulation, you can have nausea and other stuff, but stomach cramps and other stuff. So now, from aeration, that's the time now we will put chlorine. They have a set standard with the ratio that is 0.1 ppm that will be injected into the system. Do all the necessary things before pumping it out to the system. So sometimes you might drink the water and then you feel or detest, or when you're passing by, when they are flushing, you see this, you hear the scent of chlorine. That is when they have an overdose, but it has no issue in the health of the individual. So the advice here is whosoever is using a borehole, whenever you inject water into the tank, you need to chlorinate it. And there are specifications in which you need to use when it is a 2,000, 4,000, 10,000 or so. Bleach is something that will, reduce the amount of germs or bacteria that you have in water.
So you're saying that NAWEC doesn't only have to play the role. Consumers out there also have a role to play. Thank you so much.
I just want to add on what Mr. Sol mentioned, how PURA, how science and MOU, a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Water Resources. NAWEC being a utility supplying water to consumers. So we have what we call water quality monitoring system that the Department of Water Resources is doing for PURA. So they go every quarter to respective communities and take sample of water and take it to their lab and give out the report to PURA. So if the report does not meet the set standard, they will PURA will write back to NAWEC to say, go and do A, B, and C or decommission a borehole. That is for NAWEC water. But if I have a borehole in my home and there's no MOU between the Department of Water Resources and my borehole, it means the water I'm drinking is not tested and there's no monitoring done. So because NAWEC is a utility doing supplying water, so we do monitoring for that water. But our normal boreholes in our home, there's no monitoring done. That's why it is advisable that, as he mentioned, if you are having your own borehole, you should be able to take the responsibility by yourself to able to take some water samples and take it to DWR to test it for you so that the water you are drinking is safe and clean.
Mr. Boy, what type of light bulbs do you think is more suitable for us consumers to use in the market?
Thank you. PURA as a regulator has been doing a lot of campaign to promote people using for going in for energy and energy efficient equipment. As I mentioned, when you're saving energy, you're saving money. So now we are using LED bulb, light emitting diode bulb. These bulbs are very energy efficient. They do not consume much electricity, and these are the type of bulb people are using. As you can see in PURA, we have changed all our incandescent bulb to energy efficient bulb, LED bulb. So we encourage people to go in for energy saving bulbs, LED light bulbs. These are bulbs that when you use it, it consumes less electricity. A typical example, if I have a fluorescent tube that is 4 feet, those long tubes, it consumes about 60 watts. But when you go for LED, half of 60, it is more energy efficient. And it also will not be very hot. So people, and also in terms of the lifespan of a bulb, it has more lifespan. So people are going in for energy efficient equipment, such as LED bulb, which when you're saving energy, you're saving money.
Does PURA have any plan to condemn energy consuming appliances?
Yes, PURA, as I mentioned, PURA with other stakeholders in the long term is going to do what we call, we are going to type approved equipment that are entering the country. And in that case, equipment that are consuming a lot of energy might not be allowed in the long term to enter the country. For example, in Ghana, when you have an air conditioner, you go to the showroom, you are going to see the star, 3-star, 5-star. So the more the star, the more efficient the equipment is. It is. So PURA with relevant stakeholders in the long term will work towards having energy efficient equipment. And also any company or importing some of this product will need to go through some consultation so that it reduces the burden on our electricity grid. Thank you.
Ms. Summer, regarding the bus pipes in our communities, many consumers do complain that, even if you call NAVEC, they will do nothing about it. So they will also leave that bus pipes further to be wasting like that. So how often do you get complaints from these consumers? And if so, what measures do you take to help them tackle these problems in their communities?
Thank you so much for that question. With regards to that, we do get a lot of complaints like that. And consumers are always frustrated. But like as a regulator, we always try to make sure that they are sorted out. So most of the times we receive calls through our 148 call center. We have like a free toll number, that is the 148, which consumers can call in from Mondays to Fridays when the working hours are on, and they will get received and answered, and their questions are always answered. They will log their complaints, and you will also try to make sure that whatever they are asking is sorted and raised. So with regards to bus pipe, what we usually do is that we will ask the consumers if they have called the service provider or they've contacted them. And most of the time, they usually don't contact the service providers. And with the new toll-free for NOIC, that is the 1669, it was 169 in the call, but with the new one, a lot of consumers don't know this one. So most of the times we just receive calls through our 148, and they were like, we have a bus pipe and it has been here for a while. No one is coming here. We don't even know what to do. So you have a bus pipe in your area and you call us. And we contact NAWEC and tell them that Ms. Sanya has a bus pipe in her area and give out all your details. They will also make sure that they will follow up and make sure that the bus pipe is sorted out. And they will get back to us. When they do, we will also contact you to make sure that the issue has been sorted out. If not, we will contact them again to make sure that they do the job. Because for us, the consumers are always first.
Mr. Saul,
Yes.
my question is, how frequent are the water pipes in the girl being cleared? Because when water is in a place for long, you have sparrows in it, and they will cause harm to us. So how frequent are those water pipes being cleared?
part of the things that NAWEC does is like when they do cleaning of their tanks, that's the time they flush the system. And whenever they are doing, they have a communication mechanism, whereas the people that will be affected during that period communicated. So most of the time is done the 3 months. That is when there are issues, when they realize that they have some issues, because as you said, when there is debris of one of them on the period, you have some spider jar, wood and other stuff. But that will only occur, that is when you don't have a regular water supply. When there is regular water supply, the flushing might even take you a year or so because the system is always up and running. But whenever there is an issue with the supply chain, then you need to be flushed and regular at least 10 to 8 months.
Just a quick reminder to all consumers out there. PURA 148 call center operates from Mondays to Fridays. On Mondays to Thursdays, we operate from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And our toll-free number is always on. You can call us for free. And on Fridays, we operate from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And if you need assistance from PURA, you can always contact us on 148. You can contact us through our website on www.pura.gm or at info@pura.gm. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of the program. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, viewers, for watching.